All right, welcome back to another episode of the Full Fletch Podcast. Your hosts, Justin Mulvaney and Brooks Benson. Brooks, say what's up.
Hello, everybody. What up?
We are trying the layout again. It was semi-successful. Not super easy to edit, but I feel like it's a little bit better. And I like to be able to show what we're talking about and not just make you follow links. So for those of you who watch, I guess maybe you get a little bit of something to look at other than just our ugly mugs, but you
Yeah,
get to see
right.
what we're talking about. So, yeah. So I don't know on the podcast front of it, it's I don't know. The editing side is not too big of a deal, so we'll we'll try it. It took a little bit of time to figure out how I wanted to do it, and you know, it does actually take a little bit longer per episode, but I think it's worth it. So, um, might be a little bit more time between episodes, which it kind of has been lately, but it'll be what it'll be. I'll eventually get faster at it and, you know, hopefully better too. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, other than that, what's up with Brooks?
Oh, you know, normal stuff. Nothing crazy. Uh, Played my first softball game last night. Slow pitch.
Oh, yeah. Big time slow pitch guy now.
Thanks to old Teddy Ramirez.
Oh, Teddy got you on it, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I will say, he told me, he goes, just come hang out, see what it's about. Like the guys they're really cool. We don't like drink beer or anything. We don't get too serious about it. We just have fun with it. And I was like, the only way I would consider playing is if people don't take it seriously because it's not that serious of a sport. And it was pretty chill last night. It was actually a lot of fun, so I enjoyed it.
Well, good. But you didn't hit a home run.
No, hit two off the wall.
Wow, wow.
Warning, track, power.
Guy doesn't even work out.
God, it doesn't even work out. Seriously. But we won 16-6. We run rule.
White room. 16-6 run rule.
Yep. How
Wow.
about that?
It's very
It's
impressive.
10 after 5. It's the best part about it, it's 55 minutes. Is you got a
Oh,
clock. Running
okay.
clock. 55 minutes.
That's pretty nice.
It's very nice.
Let's see, I played once. I might have been in college, if not like senior in high school. Um, some guys that played baseball in high school graduated, whatever, they had their adult league or whatever that they were playing in. And they had me and a couple other, it had to have been high school because there were a couple other guys that were on the baseball team. We went out and played. And I mean, we were 17, 18 years old at the time. And it was just like, what the heck are we even doing? This is ridiculous. But I can see it maybe being a little different now. I I don't think I would ever play. I'm just like
You say
not
that
interested.
now. I always said I wasn't going to play slow pitch softball, but here I am.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just not even.
Well, it's a lot
I've
better
been
than
in
pickleball.
I've been invited and I've just straight up said no. Like like I'm not even gonna entertain it. Like I'm not even gonna make you think that I'll say even maybe. I'll just be like, no. I'm not even gonna show up. Sorry.
Fair enough. Maybe if you come out here.
I'll go watch. But I will not get in the dugout because then somehow somebody's gonna push me out onto the field, make me play.
Exactly.
I'll go sit in deep, deep right center field on the bed of my truck. Hey, Brooks, you suck.
You suck, loser.
Wait, bro.
Hey, bro. Two kids don't even live.
Yeah, I'll just go to heckle you. That's the only reason I would go to softball,
Fair enough. All
is to
right.
heckle from the outfield. So,
I get it. I get it. You know, it is what it is. I get it.
but you had fun. That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. That's because like people take it. I see people take it way too serious sometimes. I'm like, guys, it's not that serious. Like,
Yeah, no kidding. Well, there are some they get real serious. I mean, they play for money. Some of
oh
those
yeah,
leagues and tournaments and stuff.
my buddy who I played indie ball with, he plays professional slow pitch. Oh, it's legit. It's legit. Like that kind of league. I get if you take it serious because you're playing for
Yeah.
money. Like it's really competitive. I get that. But when it's a Monday night league,
Yeah, adult league, beer league,
yeah,
whatever. Yeah, for sure. No, I feel you.
yeah, dude, they're making like 4, 5, 6 grand a weekend playing that slow pitch, professional slow pitch stuff.
Yeah, those guys that win it, yeah, they're
Mhm.
doing good. They're doing good.
So, all right, enough of slow pitch. Talk archery.
Yeah, we gotta go. We gotta go like way back. So I want to say I forget what episode I numbered it. 42. Episode 42. I titled it the Lost episode. So what happened with that one? And this is now we're recording what should be episode 48. So this was now 6 episodes ago.
Are we
For
seriously
those of
on
you who,
episode 48?
yeah, isn't that
Holy
crazy?
cow, dude.
It felt like we were on like 8, and then now all of a sudden we're on 40.
Yeah, that's actually crazy.
It helps I've got like 7 of the ones with my dad, the
That's
members
true.
with Mumbo, and then
Still
yeah,
crazy to think.
yeah, we're cruising right along with the episode count. But anyways, we're back at episode 42. That one was recorded and like the first week of we were talking about April Fools. We recorded it April 2nd. April 5th, truck got crushed by tree. Well, in that episode, when we were recording on the 2nd, we were talking about, I just need to bring it up because it totally spaced me. All of the stuff happened, and there's just like blah, 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 total blur. And we listen, or Caitlin listens back to it, and like she's like, "Did you even realize that you guys talked about like the tornadoes and trees were like the worst part of like these storms in Tennessee and yada yada?" And I was like, no, I didn't. And then I listened to it and it was like, yeah, we basically totally jinxed my truck by talking about because it was big time tornadoes and whatever storm warnings coming through that week. And 3 days later, the truck gets crushed by a tree. And now we're again recording. This is May 20th, and we're recording again during another severe storm in Nashville. So it's a great year for severe storms in Nashville area. So
Well, I feel like there's severe storms going all the way around the U.S. or just the Midwest in general right now. I should say we got tornadoes the other day,
uh-huh.
um, and then dude, Greensburg, Kansas, almost got annihilated again. Did you hear about that?
I had seen some parts of Kansas got it. And then I saw St. Louis got it, but no, I didn't
St.
hear
Louis, yeah, yeah.
any other specifics.
There was a really bad tornado. They were saying it was like around EF5. That was like apparently it was like going to be another direct hit to Greensburg, just like 2007. And and then for those of you who don't know, 2007 was like May something 2007. Greensburg, Kansas got completely obliterated off the map from an EF5 tornado.
Where is
Uh,
that? So Kansas is like a rectangle,
yeah.
oblong rectangle. Where is it in Kansas?
So it is on the highway that's between Dodge and Wichita. So along that stretch. So it's more
It's like
southwest,
southwest, south central.
south central west Kansas.
Well,
Uh,
Wichita's basically like central, south central, then west of
yeah,
there. Yeah.
yep. So yeah, there's a massive EF5 that destroyed that whole town, like legit destroyed the whole town. And I think there's only a few buildings left standing, and they had to completely rebuild. I mean, I'm sure Justin, you saw it when you guys were making the trek to like Pratt or Butler or Wichita. Um, like whenever we drove through there, it was always eerie because of all the brand new buildings they had. So anyway, so yeah, Greensburg almost got killed again, but it barely missed.
Right.
And then it hit another, but it did hit another town. I can't remember what the town was called. That one got pretty screwed up. So tornadoes everywhere, man.
Yeah, it's a crazy year for bad weather.
Yeah.
Crazy. Knock on wood, because we don't need any more of those problems. Not around here, partner. Not around here. No. So
So
yeah, so that's taking it way back. We just need to acknowledge the fact that we jinxed the hell out of my truck, and we're gonna do our best to not jinx the hell out of the truck this time. I parked in a
yes,
different spot. Knock on wood. Again, we're just gonna keep knocking on wood all episode.
knock on wood.
Um, yeah, hopefully we're in the clear now. But
Hopefully.
no, then I guess now we'll fast forward a little bit, but we got to go back 2 weeks now. So we just released the episode 47, talking about your Western Hunt Fest and all that. That's the most recent episode and the recent one that we had recorded. But we forgot to mention the chaos that led to, or the week prior, the week leading up to Western Hunt Fest for Brooks. So without further ado, Brooks, would you care to share the story?
Yes, I will share it again. It is about my bow, of
Of
course,
course. Of course.
because this bow has been just a a joy. I still love it. It's been a great bow, but sometimes
There's
I
been some
swear,
learning curves
a lot of learning curves. Um,
and
we're
some
gonna
just general bad luck.
yeah, that was just bad luck too. So all right, so it was the Sunday before Western Hunt Fest, um, and I go to the archery range because I'm like, okay, I have like Sunday and Thursday to really dial it in on the 3D targets to make sure we're good to go. And so uh, I go, and this is probably 2:30 or so. There's a couple people at the first two targets that you usually start at that are 30 and 40 yards. And so I just went by him. I didn't even bother like waiting. I just went by him. I was like, I'll just go to the next target and start, and then come back around at the end and shoot those. And it was 30 yards to a cougar, about a slight downhill, and there's a lot of brush. If anyone who hasn't been to the Highlands Ranch Range, there's a lot of brush everywhere. Um, and so I'm like three. It's like gonna be my fourth shot of the day, and I use a handheld thumber, and I start pulling back on my bow, and I don't have the greatest grip, and I kind of noticed that right away. But I was like, oh, I'll be fine. Like my grip's fine. And I start pulling back, and I accidentally, I probably get about right here, and I accidentally slips out of my hands. The arrow goes flying forward. My release, who knows where that goes? That goes flying. I torqued it so bad that the whole string came off the cams. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me right now. I'm like dumbfounded. I'm like, this can't be happening. So I look at the bow. I was like, I counted, I always bring 6 arrows whenever I go to the backcountry, or the archery range. And I count, I'm like, okay, there is 5 here. So there, yes, I did knock it. I did not dry fire. Um, and so I'm like looking at my bow, and I'm like, what just happened? And I'm like, great, now it's gonna be all screwed up. Like this sucks. And
Right.
um, I'm like, gosh dang it, this is right before my first competition. Like, you got to be kidding me. I'm texting Justin, and
Freaking out.
yeah, and so I ended up uh, walking, and the two dudes that he had was one of their is a kid with them. I'm assuming that's one of their kids. They're like, "Hey man, how's it going?" And I was like, "Well, not good. Look at this." And they're like, "Oh shit, what happened?" I told them, and they're like, "I've never heard of something like that happen before." I was like, "I know." And I told them, I was like, "Hey, if you do find uh, a release, it's a bronze one. That's mine.
Yeah.
It's just so you know." I don't know if they ever found it. I haven't found the release yet. I ordered a new one, so that should be getting here. Shout out to my fiance and my mom for giving me Shields gift cards. So I didn't have to really pay for it anyway. So for my
Oh
birthday.
man.
Uh, so so yeah, Bear Creek was probably about only 20 minutes or so away. Bear Creek Archery, the archery shop I go to, and so it was probably like 3:15 or so, and I hustle over there. They're closed at 4, and so
Yeah,
I'm
because
like,
it was Sunday, right?
yep, Sunday. So I'm hustling over there. I get there, I walk in, and uh, Roy looks at me. He goes, "What now?" And I showed him, and I was like, "I think I torqued it too much. The strings came off. Everything looks okay." He looks at it. He goes, "Okay, be right back." He goes in the back, puts it on bow press, gets everything situated, and "Yeah, everything's fine. You just torqued it a little bit too much, and everything the strings came off the cams, but it all looks fine. I'm gonna um, completely re uh, like retune it. I'm gonna completely retune it, get it dialed in for you. It only take like 10 minutes." I'm like, "Okay, cool, that's fine." So he does that, and like he starts pulling back on shooting it into paper, and I'm like, "Please don't bust, please don't bust, please don't bust." And shoots, everything's clean. I was like, "Okay, thank gosh." And he shoots another one. He goes, "Okay, there's a little bit of a left tear." Goes back on the both press, fixes the cams, comes back, full holes. I was like, "Okay, perfect." I think he only charged me like $20 for it. So I was like, "Cool. At least, at least it's only $20 just to get that fixed." So yeah, I was like happy that it was just that and not
Right.
something completely worse. So,
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause, you've had some like when things go wrong, things seem to go wrong like with a price tag too.
mhm.
And so like this one to be, just the string fell off, put it back on, put it in a press, put the string back on, retune it, $20. It's like
Yeah,
blessing. Totally
thank God.
blessed on that one.
Huge blessing. But honestly, like it was kind of a blessing too because it got all retuned and everything. It shot through paper, uh,
Well, because you
straight through
weren't sure
paper.
before if you had had it tuned prior to that,
Yeah,
right?
so they do tune it. So it kind of they do it on their own type of thing. They set it to your draw length, and they'll just tune it themselves. Um, and shoot it through paper themselves. And unless you like want to be there and watch them do it, or if you want to do it, because like when I first got the bear bow that I have sitting next to me, and I took it to another shop, they they had me shoot it through paper. They didn't have
Yes.
them. So that's when I was like, "Oh, I didn't even shoot through paper." Blah blah blah. Well, they do it. They just get it
Yeah.
all done. Try to instead of wasting time of, "Hey, here's your bow," and you do blah blah blah. They just like, "Hey, we're gonna get this done. It's just your paper. You're fine. Like it's all set for you either way." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So so yeah, both shot great. We're looking good.
Looking good. Yeah.
Not going
Right on. Right on. Well, yeah, we just had to share it because, of course, another mishap, but like you said, it's it was a minimal one. So we're back in order. The only true loss was of the release. You found your arrow, right?
Oh yeah, I did. So when I got back, I did find the arrow. It wasn't too far from the target, probably 15 yards behind. So that's good at least. But could not find the release to save my life, and it didn't help that all the leaves were bronze colored, and my release is bronze colored. Did
Yeah.
not help. So I was
Yeah.
like, I wish my release was like green or something.
Right.
It would have been a lot easier to find. But I don't know, dude. That was the strangest thing. It just like complete. you think like if it would have slipped, it would have just stayed on the string because I don't know. Oh well,
The release, if the release would have stayed on the string.
yeah,
Yeah.
on the D loop.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, but oh well, it is what it is. If I find it great, then I'll have two.
Yeah.
If
It's
not,
always nice.
yeah. I mean, I have my backup thumber, but it's like the $27 one I got from Amazon a while back, which it still worked. I still shot decent with it, so it was
That's the
fine.
one you shot Western Hunt Fest with?
Yeah. And I ordered a when I was at Mile High Hunt Expo, I ordered a holster, like a custom holster for my release from Rut Holsters. And I meant to send it to him because he lives up in Windsor. I think it's Windsor. And I meant to send it to him, and I just never got around to it.
Uh,
And so when I lost it, I was like, well, that sucks. I was meaning to I already paid the $50 for the holster. Like, and so I
now
get
you'd
to,
have a holster with no release.
I know, well, I get to Western Hunt Fest, and he's like, where's your release? I was like, I got bad news. He's like, he
About
goes,
that.
seriously? I was like, yep. I was like, I'm gonna order a new one, and once I get that, I'll send it right to you.
Oh
he
man.
goes, oh, he goes, okay, sounds good. So
Wild.
I
You're a
think,
wild man, Brooksy.
yeah, I think I honestly am probably just gonna once because it's supposed to come in on Friday, and once I get it, I might just hold on to it until uh I got to Raton because he'll be in Raton. So for Western Hunt Fest there in
Gotcha.
2 weeks. So
Yeah, that'll be good.
yeah, yep. The stories of Brooks and his bow.
But it all turned out. It all turned out all right on that one.
It did. So so
Yeah,
yeah.
nice stuff.
So how did now the fast forward a little bit? How did your archery shoot go?
So on this past Sunday, so that was whatever 2 days ago, the 18th. Um, there was another 3D shoot that the once a month shoot around here that I'll occasionally go to or usually go to. I missed the one for April, didn't do that one, but I've done March and May now. Um, much better this time around than the March shoot.
Uh,
I want to say I put it in the text. I think it was a 174, something like that. So
yeah.
the goal is usually 200. 200 means like you average 10 per target, and so you know I think I ended up with 4 5s, which, even if those turn into 8s, that puts me up to like, oh, 3 times 4 is 12, another 12 points. So that'd be 186 just if my 5s turn into 8s and then turn some of those 8s into 10s. Then, I'm right there because I think I got 4 or 5 12s also. And so, you know, shooting wise, much better. My shot execution was much better. Uh, I spent the time to get sighted in. Like I completely moved my sight. Like we had talked about moving my sight closer to the bow, which then made me have to like totally adjust all of my pins. So all my pins got moved, but it made it to where I have a 20, 25, 30, 40, 50 on my 5 pin. So it still has the sliding function, but for how I use it and how I wanted it to be set up because I don't think I'm not gonna do a 3D shoot, another like long range like tack style shoot this year, and so I figured out well I may as well get it set up to where I have a 20, 25, 30 like I would want during deer season. So I got it all set up, and then like that took 25, 30 minutes to do, and then we went out and on the range and we shot, and like I said, I shot better for sure. I think it was a good like 20 points better than my last shoot, which that one was just so bad. That one had like 3 zeros and the pin was broken. It was just a mess. But yeah,
Yeah.
so um, yeah, it was good. It was good. We ended up shooting with a guy and a gal, uh, Jimmy and Janet. They are they compete in ASA events. Um, I'm gonna get it pulled up here. They compete in ASA events, like all of them that they can. And so, they've done 3 up to this point, and then they are going or they canceled the one for London, Kentucky, which is supposed to be not this upcoming weekend, but the weekend after.
Uh,
Um, London got wrecked by a tornado, so we were talking about bad weather this year. I
yeah.
guess all of London, Kentucky, like hotels got messed up. The place that they usually host the shoot at just got wrecked. Trees down everywhere, and like I was talking to the guy. His name's Jimmy. I'll have to try to find him as we're chit chatting here, but you know, he was saying that there's like thousands of people there that show up to these shoots, and they have multiple ranges set up, and so I like I said, I've never been to one, um, as a spectator, competitor, any of that, and so I don't really know how it all works. But he was explaining it like it's a big place that they host these things at. Like you can't just have it at, you know, you can't host an ASA at Highlands Ranch Archery Center or whatever. Like you have to have it at like this big open area because they have multiple courses because they'll have a course set up for each um, classification and like each division and stuff like that. So it's like it's not just everybody shooting at the same targets in the same ranges. Like there's your pro known, pro unknown, and back and forth, and women's divisions, recurve, bow hunter, like you name it. All the divisions they basically have their own range, and so huge
Right.
area. Well, anyways, London got canceled because their whole area just got totally screwed up
Right.
that they host. Anyways, they were talking, just as we were going through. It was really cool to hear them kind of talk about how it all works, and you know, Jimmy. Like I said, I'll try to find him if we can. But Jimmy and Janet, they're both amateurs right now, but Jimmy is moving up. So I've got the move up guidelines right now pulled up. Jimmy is moving up from senior known to, or from, sorry, not, he's in amateur. I think he's in like semi pro or whatever. He's moving up into senior known, the pro division. And so, uh, I he was explaining it, and I'm gonna do a bad job of um remembering all the details, but it's something like if you win a state tournament back to back years or something like that, if you win a certain amount of money, um, and then so on and so forth. Like if you win too much, you have to move from being an amateur into being a pro.
Okay.
And he to this point, well, it there's like a threshold, but so once you start a season, you finish that season as whatever classification. So he started the season as an amateur. He gets to finish the season as an amateur, but next
Okay.
season he has to be a pro because like he won the state of Tennessee, but he's from Alabama. Um, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of other weird things that odd ways that you can do it, but he won the state of Tennessee, and then the guy from Tennessee won Alabama. But then, anyways, he's won. Like he came in third place some other events. He won some event on Saturday. Even it wasn't an ASA shoot, but um, these are all like ASA qualifying events. And if you win them, then or like do whatever. If you win too much, you have to move into the pro division. And so he he's moving into pro next year, which is really cool. So it was fun to shoot with him. What did he shoot? I think he shot Well, he didn't miss a single 10 or 12. He shot all 12s and 10s the whole round, over 20 targets. So he didn't shoot an 8 or a 5, which is really impressive in itself. Like, there were a couple that were like really close to being 8s, but he held the line and got into 10s. Um, oh, there you go. I should have read the thing. Sorry, I am all over the place. So end of year move up for here, I'll make this a little bigger. End of year move up for um, earning the amount of money listed along with two top tens or the amount of money plus a top five finish. So I think he's here at men's semi pro and he's won that amount of money. Well, I think above that amount of money, and then he's gotten two top tens.
Nice.
Well, and like I said, I think he won one, and so he got a top five, so he has to move up because of all that.
Okay.
So yeah, I think now he goes into senior known pro. Yes, he moves into senior known pro. But anyways, yeah, it was fun to shoot with him and fun to watch him, you know, execute shots and all that good stuff and kind of talk about because I think he's a fun no, he's a hinge guy. And so it was interesting to shoot with multiple guys that shoot a hinge because what is the name of the guy that I shoot? Mason, sorry. Mason is the guy that I know and went and shot with him. Mason shoots with a hinge when he's doing target or 3D, but he shoots with a thumb button um, for hunting. Well, so uh, Mason and Jimmy both shoot with hinge, and so it was interesting to listen to them talk about you know their process and how Jimmy is like, oh, I keep it really tucked tight, and Mason was like, "Oh, I keep it loose." And the whole time I was sitting there listening, and it was like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." And I tried to relate it all back to like baseball on, how would I how would I think about it? And like when I was coaching guys, I'd be like, "Yeah, like simplify the movements, don't add more moving parts." And so like Mason was talking about, he keeps like a wider grip and he keeps the release like in his fingers and he like closes his hand to make the hinge go off and then make the shot release. Well,
Okay.
Jimmy, he was talking about having it so tight, like basically all the way tight up into the knuckles of his fingers and like right where it meets your palm. And he said all he has to do when he makes his release is let up the pressure on his thumb and from there just pure back pressure. And so yeah, he's full draw and he's applying back pressure, but then as soon as he starts to release his thumb, those hinge releases, they have like a click that's basically like a safety that once you get past that click, it's gonna go off at a certain point. You have to keep hinging through it and then eventually it'll just go off. So the whole point is for the surprise shot. Well, he said, all he does is he pulls his thumb off of that release and pulls through. And so it's like, man, that makes so much sense. And, I don't shoot with a hinge. I don't shoot with the thumb. I'm still an index release guy, but it's like, you know, finding a way to make whatever method you're using as simple as possible, eliminate the moving parts because, you know, like with hitting, you want moving parts because you want some rhythm and balance and stuff like that. But you have too many moving parts, it's hard to get on time and it's hard to be consistent. And so, consistency being key, especially in archery,
Right.
is like, yeah, less moving parts, better off you're gonna be. And so, it was like one of those. I know the concept, but I couldn't. I never tell myself those things. And then like to hear somebody else talk about it, it's like, oh yeah, I need to apply that myself. Big dummy. And so, yeah, it was just cool to listen to him. And I want to say Janet, going back to Janet, I think she won the uh the women's division of the last event
Oh, nice.
for ASA. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, I don't even know where that was. That was in Louisiana, Camp Minden, Louisiana. So,
Okay.
yep.
What's
Um,
the farthest shot for ASA?
so it depends on your division. For the known, so you have known 45 and you have known 50. Mason and I shot at the known 50. Jimmy was shooting at the known 45. So basically that means that's the max distance your target is going to be. So there were a couple like 26 to 30 something, but there were a handful that were like 48. And then there were two or three targets that were like right on 50 max distance. So, but that was for us. And then for Jimmy, like it was pretty similar, but like there were some that were like max distance for us, but they were not even close to max distance for like Jimmy or Janet. And so, um, close, but not like all the way maxed out like we were. So,
Right.
um, and they put in some fun ones. There was one that was like 9 yards, 8 or 9 yards, something like that shot. So, you know, the only rule really is there's a maximum. There's no minimum, as far as I'm aware. So that target, I think they can put it up to like 4 yards if they wanted to.
Oh, jeez.
That'd be nuts if they did, but I think you could. There's no, like I said, I don't think there's any rules.
No, I don't think so. No rules.
No rules.
Yeah, I think the furthest shot we shot down at Air Force was 12 yards. Not the furthest, the shortest, sorry.
Yeah.
And the furthest was 50, I think.
Nice.
Yeah. I thought we were
Yeah,
going to be launching
that's
bombs, man. So I was like, I better see what my hundo is like.
right. Yeah, no, I mean, 50 is like a good place to be.
Yeah. Part of me kind of wants to put on this new sight that I have still for the next shoot if it's only going to go out to 50 and just test it
They
out.
don't they don't have that posted anywhere.
I could probably ask and be like, hey, what's the farthest shot we'll make? So,
Yep. Man, what else was I gonna talk about? No, I mean ASA. So yeah, London, Kentucky is out. Then the next one is not for another like month. I think it's all the way in June. Um, that one's up in Illinois. They were asking, "Oh, are you guys going? Are you guys going?" And it's like, uh, I mean, apparently it's not far from us. Like, so it's right there on the line between Illinois, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Like right there in that corner. Um, what's it called? Belknap or Belknap, Illinois. I don't know. I'll pull it up on a map and show you.
pull her up.
Belknap, Illinois. Belknap. I don't even know. Wrong way. But okay, yeah. Let me find my screen share here. Entire screen. Yeah, so Belknap. I'm gonna have to look up how you're supposed to say that. But anyways, that's right
Oh,
there.
that's near Paducah.
Yeah, Paducah is right there, and then Nashville's right here. So I think it's only like a couple hour drive. Oh,
Yeah, it's
see
not
that
far.
tornado warning. Awesome.
Nice.
That is awesome. From Nashville. 2 hours 57 minutes. That's probably like right now with traffic and all that. So that's not bad. And like Jimmy was talking, so like I said, they do it every year, um, consistently. Like they go to all of them. Um, they were saying that they'll actually stay in Paducah because it's bigger town and it's only like a 20-30 minute drive to the venue. And so,
Okay.
uh, I guess more on how ASA works, which, you know, I never fully dove into all the rules and how everything works, but, um, you know, I guess the way it works, you get Thursday is like a pro-am, so, whatever that means, it's a pro-am, so, pros and amateurs shoot together, or no, it's a team shoot. It's a team shoot, so, you get paired up with people, and your score is your score, and, you can win the team shoot, but that's on
Right.
Thursday. And then Friday through Sunday, you have 2 rounds that you need to complete to submit your score. And so you can shoot 1 Friday, 1 Saturday, you can shoot 2 on Saturday, or you can shoot like 1 Saturday, 1 Sunday, is the way I understand it. I don't think anybody has or will do, I don't even know if it would be allowed, but to do the Friday, then Sunday.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't know why you would want to do that unless you like had to were only available to be there Friday, and then you had to go back somewhere Saturday, and then you can come back Sunday. I don't but like I said, I don't think anybody would want to do that
Right.
unless they really had to. But yeah, you have 3 days to complete 2 rounds of 20 targets, and I believe it's kinda like, golf, but they do, like, shotgun start, so, like, everybody gets to spread out and go to different targets, and they have, like, tee time, so you have, like, a morning shoot and an afternoon shoot, and so, you go you get you get the early shoot and the late shoot for Saturday. You go and do them both, and you get your scores and submit them,
Okay.
and you can be done in a day if you wanted to, and then figure out if you win or lose later on. But, the shoot downs but that's only for pro. Pros only do shoot downs. The amateurs, you just show up, you take your 2 rounds, and then you can get out of there. So, it's interesting. I'm intrigued, but I'm not, like, totally interested in doing it. Like I said, there's different classifications, different divisions. Um, I don't know which one I would want to fall into, but, it's like, if there was a bow hunter division, I would say maybe I'd wanna be in with that, but
Right.
because those guys shooting with, like, target bows, which Jimmy was shooting with he was a shorter guy, and he was shooting with, like, a 33-inch axle to axle, um, elite bow, and so for him, it was kinda like for his body size, it was almost like shooting a target bow, and those target bows are like 35 to 37 axle to axle,
Yeah,
and
they're cute.
so yeah, and it just makes them way more stable, and so, like, it was funny because so my bow is 28-inch axle to axle, and he was shooting a 33, and, you know, I have a little bit of torque going on when I release, I'll, like, torque my hand that's holding my riser, I'll torque it, and that's probably where a lot of my fives came from. Actually, I know that's probably where it came from because I was sighted in, like, really well. My pins were pretty well on, for height-wise at least, and so left and right, obviously, it's pretty simple to dial that in. And so when I was missing, my height was usually fine. I would just miss pretty big left and right. And so he didn't say anything until we were on like target 16. Uh, Mason and him were just really chopping it up. But
Yeah.
like target like 16, he asked me like whatever, and he's like, "Have you ever thought about shooting a longer axle to axle?" I was like, if I got $2,000 in the like the lottery or whatever, like in a scratch off ticket, then yes. But
Yeah.
other than that, no. And he's like, yeah, like it would just help your torque and like you're shooting well for a short axle to axle. And I'm like, yeah, and I just really like to have shorter axle to axle because it's lighter. I can get my clearance on tree limbs when I'm up in a tree. Like all I do is hunt. I don't do this like more than once a month. And when I do this once a month, I do it like this. I did the for fun shoot. They were all doing like you had to pay 10 extra dollars to actually like compete. I was like,
Mm.
I'm just here for fun, and I am having fun, but you know, if I really wanted to get into it, then yeah, maybe I would have to get into a bigger axle bow. But yeah, it was interesting just to hear that like, oh, it actually does affect your shot like quite a bit. And no matter how well you tune, like that shorter axle bow is going to have uh more susceptibility to torquing it
Right.
on release. And so like, yeah, I'll think about it, but I really want that shorter axle to axle as much as I can for hunting. And I don't know if
Or
I'm really all
you
that in
just
on buying
you
another
just get
bow.
a brand new Matthews.
But like he was saying, he was like, even if you went with like a 33 axle to axle, which I'm not like a big speed guy, so I don't care. I do like speed as much as I can get it. So like a shorter axle to axle with my draw length at 29 inches, like I can fit into pretty much any bow Matthews makes. But when you go to a 33 axle to axle, it's gonna be a little bit slower than their whatever their shorter ones are by
Right.
10 feet per second or whatever the number is. And it's like, well, if I have the chance to pay the same price for everything, why would I not just go with a bow that's going to shoot a little bit faster and be a
Right.
little bit lighter and can fit under tree limbs and in a blind and do all those things for hunting? So it's like, I see his point, but I also see my point. And so it's like, well, where do I fall? Because,
Right.
we've talked about it. There's a possibility of maybe switching up bows and selling this one, buying a new one. But it's like, what do I want to do? Because, I mean, if I go with the 33, then I would probably be a little bit better at 3D shoots, target archery. And, that one's like a happy medium where I could do a little bit of both.
Right.
So shoot a little bit better at 3D shoots, maybe get into that a little bit and still be good, like plenty fast and lethal hunting on the hunting side of it. Like,
Mm.
I don't know.
Were the shots? Was there a lot of angles to it, or was it pretty straight on?
Yeah, I mean, from what we do, it's just like, um, yeah, there's some elevation change. We have a few. There were a few on the first 10 or so that of those 10, maybe five of them were like downhill shots, but we had no uphill shots.
Okay.
I think that's more of a safety thing, but there were a decent number of downhill shots,
Okay.
but I did fine on those ones. But yeah, yeah, for the most part, they're all pretty level, but a little bit downhill on some.
Okay. I was just curious because I know out east it's a little bit more flat.
Yeah, it is for sure. It is for sure.
Mm. So nice, dude. Yeah, I'd like to get into more competition shooting as well. I've thought about. I don't know if Colorado has ASA or not. Um,
No, it's pretty much like let me pull this up again. I'm at a new tab. I'll share the screen with you again. Share, thank you. Yeah, so I mean, Alabama, another Alabama, Louisiana, Kentucky, Illinois, and then back to Alabama again. So ASA
Okay,
is just southeast, southeast. So
gotcha. Okay, so I guess what's the other one?
I want to say it's ISO.
ISO. Okay,
Maybe not.
IBO.
Competitive IBO.
Yep.
IBO schedule. Florida, Texas, Florida, Tennessee. These are all traditional. I don't want traditional.
Trad Archers, baby.
Yeah, crazy, crazy sons of guns. Virginia, Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia.
Man, they hate us Western folks, man.
You guys get TAC. That's about it.
Yeah, we get tech, but that's not
TAC
even
and
a
Western Hunt
competition.
Fest.
Yeah. Dang it. Got to travel. That's okay. I don't mind traveling.
Yeah. Those are
I enjoy
flight.
seeing these spots.
Yeah, so I was just looking up here too on what classification I would fall into.
Oh, if you're flipping out.
Oh no, don't flip out.
What'd you say?
I was looking up on ASA what classification I would fall into.
Oh, okay. Men's
So
Hunter
that's it.
45.
Yeah. So I would probably, if I were to do it without buying more equipment, I would go into men's hunter 45 class. And
Gotcha.
so let me see here. I'll kind of read it out. A movable sight may be used without being locked down. Magnification is not permitted. Clarifiers or verifiers in the peep are not considered magnification and are permitted. A front stabilizer or system including quick releases, enhancers, and/or weights may be used, but may not exceed 12 inches in total length from the tip of the stabilizer to the point of attachment on the riser. Single rear stabilizer up to 12 inches in length, including weights, may be used regardless of the point of attachment to the bow. So right now, I think my bow would not be legal. I think I'm a little over 12 inches because I have like a quick coupler on the front,
Uh,
which adds like an inch, and my stabilizer is supposed to be a 12-inch stabilizer. But other than that, my bow would be good for that.
nice.
And then your bow has to shoot under 290 feet per second in that division.
Okay.
And so,
So no building 300 grain arrows and shooting them 500 feet per second.
not for this. Yeah. And
Dang it.
then, so I guess then that's the other thing that really helps those guys. Like, because Mason shot pretty well and Jimmy shot really well, like I said. And Janet shot well too. I think, yeah, I know she beat me too. But those, all those guys were shooting with magnifiers in their scope. So I don't know. Have you ever seen somebody with like a magnifying lens in their scope?
Yeah, so there was a guy in our group for the Western Hunt Fest that used it, and I thought that was interesting. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know the legality of that with hunting. It may be allowed, it may not. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know if I would want that as a hunter. But, for 3D shoots, like, I don't know what level magnification you can get up to, but if you can see that target that much better, I mean, I feel like I can see it pretty well naked eye. I mean, I can't see every line, especially like on a black target. Like it's almost impossible. I can't see it. I have to kind of like line it up with the leg and a little bit
Uh,
right and or whatever. But like if I feel like if I had a magnifier in there, even if it were like 2x, just something like not a lot, but 2x, I feel like I would be able to see that thing no problem.
yeah.
And I'm not saying that would make me a better shot, but like it would make me a little bit more like, 'cause generally I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just aim in the middle of the 10, and if I'm a little bit high, then maybe like call for that upper 12, and I'll hit that 12. Or it's like, okay, I know I'm probably gonna miss low, because I pin gap it. Maybe I'll hit like whatever. I'm set at it's at a 45, and I'm gonna put my 40 like a little bit on the higher side of the 10, and I can see where the 10 ring is, but I can't exactly see the 12. I feel like if I had a magnifier, I'd be able to see that. And then those guys had magnifiers and clarifiers, so it was like
Uh,
they in their peep they had a clarifier, and then which makes things more clear, clarifies things, and then clarifier then into a magnifier, and then it just like I don't know. I feel like I would see that target so much better and just be able to aim a little bit more precise. Not like I said, I'm not saying that would make me a better shooter, because you still have to make the shot execution. And like I said, I didn't do the best at that, especially this time around. But like, I don't know if it would mess with my confidence or not, or like make it better or worse to be able to be like, I can see exactly where that pin is on that target, and I need it to be this much higher or lower.
right. Yeah.
That's the other thing with those guys. They all were shooting single pin, and like they have apps on their phone of like how to dial their dial, and like they're like, okay, I need to be on like this, not below like whatever number. It's like, okay, and they were like to the decimal point. It's like, oh, okay, we're at 29.7 from the target, and they would like get like, I don't know, they would take their rangefinder, flip it upside down, and like be able to like zoom in to their sight tape, and like they could dial it to exactly whatever their app said or whatever. It's like that's
That is pretty nuts.
like so accurate. And then they were like magnifying in and clarifier, and then all I had to do was make a perfect shot. It was like, well, Jimmy did it quite a bit, but it was like, I mean, you're taking all the variables of, oh, my pin wasn't right, my this wasn't right. It's like, no, you just didn't make a good shot. That's what,
Yeah.
like, if you miss, like, aside from like heavy winds or rain or whatever, like bad weather, like, what excuse do you have at that point
Right.
other than you
Exactly.
just didn't make a good shot?
Yeah.
With
Simple.
all that stuff, it's like, holy cow.
All the things, man. And people think they can just pick up the bow and just shoot and be okay.
Right. There's so much that goes into it.
So like a ton. But that makes it fun. So
I don't know. Maybe I'll look at how the men's Hunter 45 class is. Well, one, it would make it my farthest distance would be 5 less yards, which I was actually okay at 50. I didn't screw up my 50s too bad.
it's good.
Um, I would have to adjust my front stabilizer, but other than that, I think I'd be good. My
Nice.
back stabilizer is 10 inches.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did you what do you use quiver wise? Do you just use the quiver on your bow?
So I do have my quiver on my bow. I took it off because so I went to the range. So I have like a hip quiver with all my field points in it. Well, I still had so I went turkey hunting Saturday, and then I had the 3D shoot Sunday. I still had my quiver with my broadheads in it, and I pulled out an arrow with a broadhead on it like 5 times when I was sighting in, and I was like, "Oh, no, put that away, dummy." And finally, like, I was like, "I'm going to pull one of these out on the actual shoot range
Yeah.
and not think about it because I'm so dialed in, like, thinking about my distance and where the 12 is. I'm not gonna remember that I'm not supposed to shoot with this arrow." And so I took my quiver's detachable, and so I detached it, took it out to the truck, and I was like, "My broadheads are in the truck. I will not screw up. I will not make that mistake."
Not
I
doing this again.
Yeah, but, no, I just run a hip quiver. I had, like, no, I had, like, 6 arrows
Okay.
for that one. Yeah, this one, it's not like a tack shoot where it's like, uh, obviously, it's not like Western Hunt Fest where you have more challenges, like, it's just shooting.
Right.
Like, the only reason you would lose or break an arrow is you made a bad shot and had a 0 and launched it, or, like, when you're shooting in groups like that, especially if your whole group is shooting pretty well, like, and everybody's trying to be in on that 12, on, like, an easy 12, then, like, you're gonna have knocks, break, and arrows, Robin Hood, and stuff like that, which we didn't have any this week, but you've definitely had people break each other's arrows.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And so, 6, having half a dozen, like, it doesn't happen that often where you need to make sure you have, like, 20 arrows, 1 for every target, but, you know, I had 6 and I actually made it through the whole thing with just the 1 arrow. No
That's good.
problem.
Nice.
See.
Yeah, I made it through my shoot with the one arrow, which was good. I did lose it at on one shot. I was like, "Oh no."
Oh, yeah,
I
on your 0, you
Yeah,
launched it,
my 0, yeah.
but then you
Then
found
I
it.
found it, so we're
That's
good.
good. Yeah. No, it's funny because like, when you're sighting in, you just have well, like, I do it with my arrows, going into hunting season. When I'm sighting in with my broadheads attached, I'll number on my vanes, I'll number which arrow I wanna shoot primarily, and then I'll put them in my quiver as such, and, like, when I'm done with hunting or whatever, I'll put it back and, you know but whenever I'm going to knock my arrow, I, like, double check which one is my number 1 arrow because 'cause it'll be, like, 1, 2, and 3. So, I'm cheap, I only buy 3 broadhead packs of 3 for broadheads, and so I've got my 3 arrows, and then I have one that shoots better than the other 2. Then my number 2 is like, okay, it's okay, but I'm just more consistent with the other one. And then the third one's like, this one still shoots fine, but it's not as good as the other 2.
Right.
And so, like, just like that, whenever I'm sighting in and shooting with my field tips, like this one that I like put it off to the side and I put it in like a different hole when I was sighting in. It's like this arrow shoots better than the other the other ones. I don't know. I mean, it is a real thing. Like it's not just like a part of it may be psychological, but like you can blind shoot. I wouldn't say blind, but like if you had a robot shoot a dozen arrows, there's going to be one arrow that shoots better than the rest consistently. And that's just the way it is because of, you know, arrow flex and, they're all the same stiffness and, they're all spine aligned or whatever. But, one just is going to shoot better. If I don't know if it's fletchings, maybe they don't drag as much. They're a little bit more clean, rotates better. Who knows? But there's always going to be one arrow that shoots better than the other 11 out of a dozen.
Yep, I agree with that.
Wow.
It is.
Speaking of a
So,
dozen arrows, Brooksy's getting another dozen.
another dozen because I broke 4 the other day. Well, this weekend, I shot Saturday and Sunday, and I hit the metal rod 4 times. 3
Nice.
on the same elk, 1 on this hog. I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me, man." Like, we need better targets out here. Like,
We gotta do something about that, Brooks.
yeah, I need to well, the thing is like, the one on the hog was 40 yards, and I'm like, "Come on, dude, like, that was just a bad shot." but the one on the standing elk is 77 yards. So it's like it was
Uh,
windy,
yep.
and I just had to take that into account. And I was trying to play the winds, and yeah, I was just trying to be cool and make a cool shot. But
At least you
because
didn't
I
whiff.
yeah, dude, when that I like shot it. The one I on Sunday hit on the standing elk, I like shot, and I was like, I hit whack, and I was like, there it goes.
There it goes.
There.
Here we go again.
And then I busted
Oh,
one this
there it goes.
past past week. I Robin Hood it, so that was cool.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
So I need more arrows.
Yep.
The joys of learning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so on those smaller targets, like the physical size of the target is smaller, and so you just have an increased likelihood of finding that rebar. Like
Yeah.
you said, the hogs are pretty easy to hit. The turkey are usually pretty easy to hit. Um, I want to say that there's like some, well, there's a lot of different manufacturers of targets, but there's raccoons and small bears and like all sorts of different targets that you know when they are physically smaller, they make a small bear or like a small elk, small deer. Like just when the target is smaller, it's way more likely to hit that rebar.
Right.
And so,
Unfortunately.
it is really like you might have missed a little, like not drastically missed, but you still missed the insert and you hit a spot where that rebar came up. So, and like you said, on a 77-yard shot, you get a little bit of wind, it might push the arrow. Unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunate, but hey, learning, whatever.
Yeah. Fortunate for me, I get to make more arrows for my buddy.
Yep. More arrows.
Love it.
Yes. So, well, anything else?
No, I think we about covered it. You know, I keep going back and forth on it. You know, there's parts of ASA that sound intriguing, and being in this region of the country where it's like, they're not super far drives to get to any of these spots for these ASA events. You know, if I'm able to do Saturday, Sunday, I could, in theory, compete, but also, I don't know, because in order to, there's also like registration fees, like entry fees. It's like you have to be registered with ASA, which is like $50 or something like that. And then you have to pay an entry fee for each event, which who knows how much all that is. And then, gas to get there, hotel to stay there. Unless you are one of the people who like books it super early Saturday morning, shows up, shoots both on Saturday, and then heads back right away. Like every time that they have them, which I mean, you could, but there's just a lot of money that unless you're like totally invested in doing it, like you're pretty serious about doing it. It's like, do you really want to do it? Or are you just like, oh yeah, that sounds fun, and then just don't do it?
Right. Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at right now. It's like it sounds fun, but I wouldn't be invested in it enough to actually make it worthwhile.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're still young enough and dumb enough that we're not going to do that. Or if we don't do it, it's not the end of the world. We can always come back and do it. I mean, there's dudes that are doing it into their 50s and 60s, and
Yeah. Like we have plenty of time.
yeah, like if that tickles the fancy later on in life, then we can always come back to it.
Exactly. So, well, cool, dude.
Yeah. Well, Brooks, closing thoughts.
Um, don't torque your bow.
Don't torque your bow. I was gonna say I have done that also. Um, and when I did it, my strings frayed, and so I needed to get new strings. And I did it. I will say I'm not trying to one up you, but and good for you that I'm one upping you on this one. Um, when I did it, I was full draw during deer season. I get out there. I had sighted in everything. I had shot with my broadheads. Didn't really pay much attention, I guess, to whatever I was about to tell you. Didn't pay much attention to this. And, anyways, like I was fully sighted in, ready to go. Well, I get out there and I come full draw, and I'm making sure I have clearance on the back and top because I was like, I didn't have a tree stand. I was in Louisiana. I didn't have a tree stand, didn't have a blind, nothing. I was just kind of in some bushes, and I was like, I just want to make sure I've got room to draw if I want, like if I need to. And so I draw, and then I notice as I'm full draw and like moving, I'm like, all right, I'm good. I've got my lanes. I notice my broadhead is like either I couldn't tell if it was touching my riser and like was wedged up against my riser, or if it just looked like it was really close. And so like I'm there and I notice it and I'm like, huh. And I like pull myself back and I'm full draw with my bow in front of me like an idiot. I like push the bow out in front of me. My left hand, it had to have exactly, it torques, causes the bow to go off, like go off. It drops the arrow in front of me. And I was just like, what the heck just happened? Bow exploded in my hands. And I was like, oh my God. And like I had been in the field for maybe an hour, like walked around looking for the right spot, found the right spot, did this dummy break, done. I'm like, well, I'm going home. Go and get new strings. On my way out, I see two deer walking, like they're crossing the road, walking into the spot that I was just
Oh,
about to be set up at. So it could have been worse, is all I'm saying for you. You could have broken your string. You could have been in deer or elk season, and you could have had it happen and then see the deer or elk go to the spot that you were set up in. So
yeah.
just be very happy you didn't have those
Yeah.
scenarios lined up.
Yeah. I'm definitely happy. So,
What did Theo Vaughn say? Man, what makes you want to kick a fat kid at Kmart? Like that was that for
yep.
sure.
That is very unfortunate.
Oh,
You got any closing thoughts?
no, that was my closing thought. I forgot that I was going to tell you my story of torquing the bow and losing the string off the off the cans, and so there's that.
Well,
All right, Brooks, that
cool.
was a good episode. We covered a lot there.
Covered a lot. Good one.
All right, well, listeners, appreciate you guys listening, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
See you guys next time. Peace.